guys, so this is a very different video. I was sent this request to do a letter to my younger self tag. So I'm just back from Ireland. I will do a message or a video on that, but this request really kind of made me think. And I think, again, this is definitely a beauty channel, but as you get older, you do realise that there's a lot more to life than foundation and eyeshadow and things like that. And what you kind of get to a point in life is, what would I say to my younger self? And when somebody asks you, I mean, I have a lot of younger girl cousins, and if I had advice to them, so literally this is just my thoughts. And I think a Dear Me tag at any age is kind of a nice thing and a reflective thing to do, because then you can kind of look back and realise maybe situations where you wished you'd had the advice that you now have, and then you can kind of move forward with it. So this is just a couple of things that I wrote. So I'll start off because I was asked to do it. So the first and foremost thing I've said is respect yourself. And if I'm looking down, it's because I've written it. I can show you my trusty notebook here that has stood the test of time, going on 2 years now. So first and foremost, respect yourself and realise your self-worth. Don't feel inferior when you're around others. Feel proud that you're passionate and creative, and don't hide it. So whatever your passion is, if it's not the most popular thing in the world and you're surrounded by peer groups and you're surrounded by these things, these are challenges for you, I know. And this could relate to college, work, school, at home even. You know, if you're, you want to, things like, even as far as maybe coming out to people, things like that. You can make you feel inferior and scared if you feel your surroundings aren't safe, but then that might just come from not having confidence. So that could come from any situation you're going through. Even things like that, even something that you're passionate about, but you don't feel you're around people that you feel you can actually talk to. So just trust yourself and respect yourself enough to know that if somebody doesn't like that, it doesn't mean that your interest in it shouldn't continue. Then I wrote, you will come across many challenges, and again, this is me personally, and you will have to make tough decisions. Make sure the decisions you have made are for you, your best interests, and not to please others. So that does go back to the first point of, where I used to be quite shy, very shy. People around me would have all these personalities. I'd have my own thoughts, but I'd hold back because I would simply want to please other people, and it really doesn't get you anywhere, unfortunately. And it really does take a lot of bravery to get to that point, and confidence to say, actually, yes, that's your opinion, but this is mine, and I know that can take a while. And then don't get caught up in what others think of you. That's a really big one, because I think any age, man or woman, that is a huge thing to kind of start to get over, is what other people think of you. Sometimes makes you feel more, you're thinking of their thoughts rather than your own. And I think social media, lots of things like that, I think have an effect on that. Don't see yourself through their eyes. So that's kind of definitely going back onto the other point. If you have a very good knowledge of yourself and other people either don't want to see it or refuse to see it, or have seen it and maybe just don't want to kind of look at your point of view, respect yourself to know that you have the potential because you're thinking it through. If they don't see it, that's their issue and it's not yours. So they have to deal with that. Trust your instincts and realise not everyone can be trusted. And that's another thing. And I think that comes, you kind of get to know that when you're younger, particularly in your teens, you start realising kind of your instincts. You're still working on what are my instincts. Sometimes you'll have instincts, sometimes you won't, and you'll need them, but you wouldn't have had them at the time because you wouldn't have had the experience. So if you do get this instinct about somebody, trust it, because that doesn't just happen for no reason. And then that does lead you to realise that not everyone can be trusted. So guard yourself. Always keep a piece of yourself to yourself. That's what I would say. And then one that I've highlighted is, don't begrudge yourself because you're struggling or you're in a bad place. Turn to family and friends if you can, and then talk to them knowing that you're not alone. And if you don't have that support, try to look at maybe Samaritans, things like that, things where you'll get the support. And even if that's somebody over the phone, somebody has still listened to you, somebody has still heard what you're saying, and that's really important. And then something that really, it does happen that you only realise afterwards, is that people will hurt you and test you, and you will have this kind of, you'll be left with emotional, physical scars that will last, probably emotional or physical, depending on what you're going through. Probably not physical, but all these emotional scars, they do leave, all these experiences leave these scars. So you have to kind of try again, trust in yourself, and And remember that 90% of what happens to you is more about them, and the 10% is how you react back to it. And that's trying to stay calm in a kind of a volatile situation, or letting somebody have their say, and you're sitting there and your instinct is to say something back straight away. If you just stay calm, nobody can overreact over silence. That's the thing. You can react over what they said, and they've said it and it can't be taken back, but they can't react to silence. And that makes you kind of come out as the stronger person. And then you have taken in what they've said, and you become more confident in what you've actually felt in the beginning. And then, obviously this applies to men and women. Obviously all of this applies, but the one thing I have written is that you will fall in love many times. So, there are these people out there that do have these, long relationships, and that's great. But the majority of people fall in love many times. And remember to keep, again, what I said, a part of yourself for you. Not everyone will reciprocate the feeling of love too. And that's something for sure that I have experienced. And then sometimes you have to find something to smile about that day, because you're feeling that hurt. You have to look elsewhere. And that's the thing, is actually letting your brain go, okay, we need to look elsewhere because I'm feeling down. And because they don't reciprocate the love, it doesn't mean anything. And I'm saying this going through it. I am. If they don't feel the same way back, all that says is that they're not in the same space, but they also don't see your potential. And it's not because you don't have the potential. Their head is just not there. And that means you deserve somebody who sees your potential, who knows what they want and is confident. So again, that's going back to you feeling inferior, but actually it's more their issue than yours that they need to deal with in their life. So that's something that I would definitely say to young people. And then the last thing I would say to men and women, to everybody, is always have even if you have a small network of friends, have that person. And if you don't have that person, definitely, even if you want to message me, because I was requested to do this, have that support, because that's really important, that you get to say how you feel. And because you've had certain things happen to you, you need to have that outlet of, I've just said this and it's not, even though it's still happening, it's off my chest. I can go to bed tonight and think, just have that breather space, and continue that. Try to kind of breathe and take things as they come, one day at a time. And then kind of, ending that, I would say, never let anybody tell you that you can't do something, whether that's, college, university. If you don't want to go to college and you have a passion in music, things like that. So going to that side of things, your younger self, if you have a passion and you want to go sky high with it, go for it. I wanted to start off on the more serious things because that's what was requested, but I do think this is really important. We are in, I think, era here of very much social media. So you've got YouTube here, you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you've got all these different things, and they're great, but the only thing that sometimes that doesn't reflect is reality of day-to-day living. And people then get this kind of, this is where I'm supposed to be, but actually you're already okay in yourself, you're enough. So what you think of yourself is always the most important. But I think that other point of trying not to let what other people think of you affect you, it's so hard. I know it is. And I'm starting to think in my head, trying not to, but that's only recently. It still happens to me. But now I'm at the point of saying, okay, I need to try and work on not thinking about what they're thinking. And that's a huge thing, I know. And I totally agree. But if you have that thought in your head, you're already kind of halfway there. So this is kind of, it was a really interesting video, and I think I will do more of these types of videos. So I have linked below I'll link below the book, An Ocean of Secrets. It's my first novel I did a couple of years back that I have now kind of started to publicize a bit more. Any other tags people want me to do, I will. And thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.